Hello, everyone. How is it going out there? I always forget which corner of the studio the chair will be invisible in. One moment. Hello, and welcome to Talking Simulator. I'm Cameron. My pronouns are he, him. And this week, I am playing Mini Mini Golf Golf. This game looks really interesting. As it points out to you on its store page, this is not a game about golf. What is it about then? It's the future. Leonard Cohen voice. It's about the future. How are y'all doing? I'm a bit sleepy today, but I was up early. Also sleepy. We where are all my sleepy folks at? Present? Well, awfully fancy. Look at that. We got somebody here who's present. Regular sleepy day. Yeah. Ice storm going on outside. Cool. I mean, those are dangerous, Shanley ATK. I hope you're okay, and I hope your power stays on. Hopefully, it's not a severe ice storm. Why am I revolting? Present but never accounted for? Mm-hmm. Well, shall we get to it then? Stupid cold in Minnesota. Luckily, the temperature here, the cold front here broke. So, hopefully it will break for you too. It is now above freezing. Oh, Iris of Ether, I'm so sad that Gigamesh is not in the new Civilization game. What is one to do? What is one to do without Gigamesh? Anyway, shall we play? We probably should. It's what I'm here to do. Speaking of anomalous weather, the Greater Baltic Ocean. Mm-hmm. What do we think? I mean, 860 by 600 is kind of like delightful. Mm, I think we can probably just play on deductive. That seems like the mid difficulty. We're here for some gameplay. Yeah, the actual back button on the board. Is that where the Or it's a button on the board, yes. Resonator, Aconia approaches your work today, or appreciates your work today. As a first task, we would like you to make yourself comfortable with our signal monitors. Press submit to continue. We identified signals in this time block. Use the left signal monitor to find the following signal fragments: tectonic station schematic, magma grind system schematic, and the optional radio broadcast fragment. Yes? Use the left signal monitor.
Of superheated magma. This is where the grinder will be able to reshape the fragment. We can understand the superheated magma as some kind of drill fluid. It creates the geological plasticity needed for the shaping operation towards the plate. As a secondary effect, the magnetic field around the drill itself stabilizes.
Schematic operation of the Tectonic Station project. The first station is planned to be positioned along the fault line of the Tornquist zone, separating the Baltic Shield and the North German basin. The threat of an evacuation of the Danish peninsula due to cascading climate system collapse has made a large-scale intervention in the system dynamics inevitable. To be able to influence tidal currents, salination, and most importantly, water temperatures, we have identified a promising intrusion point for the controlled reactivation of the Baltica plate. Tectonic Station 1 will be constructed on the site of a remnant cliff. This station is the controlling infrastructure to 4 super deep boreholes that will be widened out to allow for the installation of a superheated grind system. Our tectonic Lagrangian trajectory modeling allows for a precise carving of a large-scale tectonic plate part. This plate is modeled according to projected tension points and inserted into the fault line, where it will coalesce to the calculated tension point within roughly 1,000 days of carving. All boreholes and plate grinders are planned to operate for at least 15 years to continuously lower the time from insertion to activation, the temporal effect threshold. We induce controlled tectonic tension discharge. This allows us to minutely control a slow buildup and reopening of the Tornquist fault line. This would be sufficient to reach the preliminary goal of Tectonic Station 1 to form a controllable large-scale response to our deteriorating climate system dynamics, which has a good chance of defending the Danish and German peninsula, and will avoid mass evacuation within the coming decade. To this illustration that describes the schematic operation of the Tectonic Station project. The first station
of this before. That gives us hope that these public entities will deliver on a scale and in a time frame that would be beyond individual industry actors. In the 70s of the last century, during the Cold War, there was Mavia. In the 80s, we had the German Uniper after the Russian Rosity on our eastern flank.
But these hardly compare to what you are suggesting with Oberst or Fenneker, though. Besides, Panavia barely delivered, and Uniper was an isolated wartime decision. These are hardly the precedents you make them out to be.
I agree insofar as that the situation is different. Both of these projects are wartime efforts, but the challenges we are facing today are similar in scale. Only a united effort, publicly coordinated, will allow us to build and operate the Tectonic Station in the time we have. We are talking about a different economical issue here. We are going to fail if we keep solving for medium or short-term rentability, and long-term policy decisions have always been a public matter. But we must remove the economic exploitation that sets in when the initial funding and development is finished. The trajectory has to change from developing a product to developing a public good. Something we should have done a long time ago, frankly.
So you are saying
that the current market-driven economy is not capable of rising to the task, so to speak, of delivering services and infrastructure we need to deal with the problem.
See, you mentioned infrastructure, and that has for the most part always been a public responsibility. Even though we give out contracts to companies, we barely even uphold the idea of infrastructure as private service. It was the nation states that upheld the illusion of a market economy all along, and it is the Union now. And when it comes to the projects that Obrist, Laconia and Fenaka are meant to build, they are infrastructure similar to what we saw before when we created the train system in Europe, or the harbors.
Except this time, it's not infrastructure for commerce. The infrastructure is not made available to further private endeavors. It stays with the state. It does not dissolve into the market.
I want to address this point, and also your previous point, and I want to make sure that I am perfectly clear on this. The sun is setting on these private economic endeavors you speak of. Many of them are impossible to execute already. Private participation in the market is a luxury that depends on a stable society and governments that can provide the basic services for their population. And this fundamental contract is threatened already, right now. We are not talking about a compromise between free markets and the well-being of the European populace. We are talking about the survival of our personal liberties. It's already too late to stabilize the climate in a way that we are used to. We are already talking about staving off the worst. There's no more securing the status quo. Hope to uphold personal, individual liberties.
You are arguing that the free market, the highest form of individual freedom we have known so far, has to end for our individual liberties to survive?
No. You misunderstand. I'm not arguing. I put this into law. The member states have already voted on this. We are talking about a reality. Not just in the transformation of our market economy. We are talking about the transformation of the liberties of a whole generation dedicating their lives to stop what our generation could not. The market economy is the least of our concern right now. Examples of this before. That gives us hope that these public entities will deliver on a scale and in a time frame that would be beyond individual industry actors. In the 70s of the last century, during the Cold War, there was Panavia. In the 80s, we had the German Uniper after the Russian Rosity on our eastern flank.
But these hardly compare to what you are suggesting with Obrist or Fenneker, though. Besides, Panavia barely delivered, and Uniper was an isolated wartime decision. These are hardly the precedents you make them out to be.
I agree insofar as that...
Wait, is that not the radio frag?
We'll be able to reshape the
There's the tectonic schematic.
That describes the schematic operation of the Tectonic Station project.
the plate part under a constant stream of superheated magma. This is where the grinder will be able to reshape the fragment.
Oh, maybe the
We can
tuning
understand
was...
the superheated magma as some kind of drill fluid. It creates the
Okay.
And we have seen examples of this before. That gives us hope
Oh,
that
didn't
these
get the
public
block
entities
days.
will deliver
Okay.
on a scale and in a time frame
The tuning wasn't
that
quite
would
right.
be beyond individual industry actors. In the 70s of the last century, during the Cold War, there was Panavia. In the 80s, we had the German Uniper after the Russian Rosity on our eastern flank.
Interesting.
hardly compare
The
to
fragments
what
you
you're
have found are
suggesting
about our
with
sister
Obrist or
company,
Fenneker, though.
Obrist, and their work
Besides,
on the
Panavia barely
Tectonic
delivered,
Station project.
and Uniper
That
was an
project
isolated
failed
wartime decision.
tragically 2 years ago.
These are hardly the precedents you make them out to be.
I agree insofar as that the situation is different. Both of these projects are wartime efforts.
Let's see what else we can uncover from the exec block monitor. Maybe the fragments can help us understand our future. Do not worry, I will observe adherence to the time directive of the Science Council. My name is Zoe. I am a hybrid with Delphi Station and the administrator for the Resonator program. Together, we will investigate this time block. Let's begin with the code now. Hybrid of what and what? We identified resonances in the time block. Use the right exec block monitor to find the resonances. Play mini golf courses. Ooh, yes. Is the work, mysterious and important? Jesus Christ. I like deductive. Now let's go. It seems to want us to use verbose, like a lot of clues. We are Vanya. Choose training course. On the fairway. Oh, okay. I get it. Oh, come on. Oh, Jesus Christ. Transcendence. Hello. You want us to hit it into the singularity? Oh. I like how it's not par, it's parts. Nice to me. I also like it when people are nice to me. Oh. Nice to meet you. This does feel a little bit strange. I love this. I love this. I am in love with everything that is happening and has happened. Kabam! I just resonated. Feel a little bit strange. I just resonated with one. Of my memories. I am very tired with the grind. I'm very, very tired with the grind. Feel a bit. Fire! This opened. A tunnel through. Space and time. Get there. More like a door to a... No! To a block. Try again. Okay. We can do this. We can do this, chat. I believe in us. No! No. More like a door to a block. This is... so far, this is just incredible. Could you do me a favor? Let's see how this goes. 2 tensors. What are you seeing? What you are seeing now is a plate fragment. From the year 2187. What just happened? We inserted into a tectonic fault. To control temperature. In the greater Baltic. Okay, we've reached tension point 1. You probably don't. Try and layer up. I understand how confusing this must be for you. We are trapped in a torus. We're lowering the plate into the fault. It's so nice to have some company after all these years, though. And maybe talking to you can alleviate this problem of having to balance the scales of planetary climate collapse for all eternity. Thank you for this. Let's go on a little trip down memory lane. This signal, whoever put it here has been deliberately putting code into this time block. I wonder how many coded messages are hidden within this time block. What do they want to tell us? Someone, or something, has had or will have control over what gets put into this time block. They also know how our systems synthesize images. We must find out who that is and what they know. You must find a way to enter the injected area. A glitched button, maybe? Continue investigating the right exec block monitor and find a way into the hidden code. Alright, Christmas Eve 2032. Welcome, Raiders. And then unknown. Are we not we advance. Maybe you cannot. I mean, this is oh, it didn't. It wants us to find a secret menu. Well, not a secret menu, but okay. I think I understand this game. Well, no, I don't understand it, but I get what it's doing now. This is interesting. It seems like there are a significant number of resonance tunnels integrated in injected code. Someone clearly left these here on purpose. We are truly just starting to understand how information interacts with time blocks. Not all code segments seem to be accessible at this point. You should start exploring the accessible ones. I will monitor changes in the code. Explore at least 2 segments: childhood, hope and happiness, work-life balance. Well, let's go to childhood, shall we? Goodbye. Where to? Nowhere. What? I did not think that. Okay, I'm having a little difficulty parsing exactly where the things are sweeping. Oh. Game. Okay, childhood.
Hello and welcome to Mini Talk.
A 6-part series on video games and the lives of other people.
More resonance tunnels. Whoever put these here, why would they want us to know about their upbringing? Maybe this can tell us about the origin of the time block.
In this first episode, we would like to introduce you to our main subject of discussion and the reason we are creating this series in the first place, a video game called Mini Golf Club.
And we would like to also start with a claim, namely that video games are more than just casual pastime. Video games are tunnels into the past, into the future, and into the lives of other people.
Hi everyone, this is Leonie from the future. We received some feedback and mails from our viewers, and I would really like to read them to you. So let's directly jump in. I now read a mail we received from Marsha. Marsha writes us, Hi Mini Talk. Thank you for your show. I really like your discussion about game design.
Thank you, Marsha.
I am a bit of a game designer myself, especially since I became a mom. Game design is basically almost everything I do. I feel like life very much became like a roller coaster, you know, with loopings and stuff. And when you manage to navigate all of that and succeed with something on your first try, it feels like the greatest achievement of all time. What a nice feedback and insight. I love loopings, by the way. But for now, let's go back. There is much more to come here in this episode.
Let's take a step back and examine some of the
Okay, well, let's investigate Mother.
Video games are tunnels. Into the past, into the future, and into the lives of other people. Masha writes us, I am a bit of a game designer myself, especially since I became a mom. And succeed with something on your first try. Especially since I became a mom. And succeed with something on your first try. Especially since I became a mom.
Succeed
and
on your-
succeed with
okay.
something on your first try.
Okay.
Hello and welcome to
Тобі подобається?
I'm glad we found each other too. Let's see. No, game, come on, buddy. Your ambition. Caught my eye. Growing up is always tragic. I got that as well. An ambitious disposition. Where do you want me to go? Down? I think it's from here. Okay. Okay. Mom was uprooted by war. Though, like everyone, is now. No shade on my mom, though. Except me, funnily enough. I am bound in place now. Holding on to resonant memories. Do we strike mother?
Тобі подобається? А кольори? Якщо хочеш, я можу щось змінити.
Greatest achievement of all time. What a nice feedback and insight. I love loopings, by the way. But for now, let's go back. There is much more to come here in this episode.
More resonance tunnels. Whoever put these here, why would they want us to know about their
Let's
upbringing?
take a step back
Okay,
and examine some
break
of
up.
the decisions that went into
Тобі подобається?
Tunnel 1, Mother. Yeah, okay, but what do you want us to do?
А кольори?
It was looking at the loop.
Якщо хочеш, я можу щось змінити.
No, we don't want her to change them. Okay.
Enemies.
probably another story as well. I am sure many people tell you when I tell you that I had trouble falling asleep. I think it wasn't because of nightmares or anxiety about burglars coming in through my bedroom window. No, I couldn't fall asleep because I was too excited about the world.
Let's visit our father. All right. All right, chat. Instead of running up that hill and making a deal with God, let's walk up that hill and make a deal with all
Video
those
games are
gods.
tunnels into the past, into the future, and into the lives of other people. This fan mail comes from a user called Dad. Push them. Maybe one last try. I would definitely give it one last try. Maybe one last try. I would definitely give it one last try.
One try?
Maybe one last try. I would definitely give it one last try.
Why am I so bad at this, chat? I mean, I'm bad at all video games. Yeah, Mom wants it done the first time. Dad is like, just keep trying. In episode 1, I imagined my dad asking for advice. Oh, almost there. Oh. Maybe if we just hit it as hard as humanly possible, it will work. I have a really hard time with the perspective on this.
Uh-oh.
Last try. Oh. I don't want to auto-solve, though. I want to be able to figure out how this is working. Maybe James could come in and do this for us.
Uh-oh.
I imagine this is riveting gameplay for you, chat. No, please. I'm having so much difficulty with the perspective on this, but I want to be able to do it. I couldn't tell you why. I feel it's important that I do this. Okay, our last try. Or not. I have to putt through the mound? Where's our target, though? Do we simply eliminate Father with a golf ball? Yeah, putt through the... Okay, I get what you're saying. Right, the perspective of where the hole... Gotcha.
Uh-oh.
This feels inconsistent, chat. This game that is not about golf. I felt for a brief moment like I had it. Boo. Maybe we forgot to take into account the net. I will not take your easy out game. Ooh. We broke it. Let's see what this breakup is about. Or actually, we should probably go and see what the deal is with our father. Or not. Masha. Alright, straight into the dad hole. Have you ever wanted to ask your dad how he feels, but then didn't? I like to imagine. I like to imagine my dad as a tragic. These rules were like yours. For reality worth investing in. For a world that could be saved. Head up high, firmly rooted in reality, both feet under. I don't blame him for denying me the fiction. That would prepare me for our future. The new world to come.
Hallo? Ich rede mit dir.
There is much more to come here in this episode.
Strange. I recognize the reference to flooding from back then. It seems they had the same issues as all of their generation.
Let's take a step back and examine some of the decisions that went into the design of Mini Mini Taco.
More resonance tunnels. Whoever put these here, why would they want us to know about their upbringing?
With tunnels into the past, the future, and into the lives of other people.
When I design a game, the initial impulse.
Tell you what, let's take our first break, and when we come back, we'll play more Mini Mini Golf Golf. All right? Currently, I think this is sweet. So, I will see you in like 5 minutes.
Often comes from a strong image or an emotion
Okay.
or an issue.
See you
Now,
shortly.
It is not necessarily obvious, but Mini Mini Golf Golf has buried deep beneath its layers of code and graphic design and animation.
Hello, chat. I returned. So, how are we finding the game? I think it's great. Wow. I want to see what this breakup is about. What is going on here?
Hello, and welcome to Mini Mini Talk.
Game.
Video games are tunnels. Into the past, into the future, and
So far,
into
I'm
the
loving
lives of
this.
other people.
About what was so funny, they told me how they would use this as a ramp to launch themselves into space. Repeated your story 3 times.
Okay. I think I got this one. Fire! Okay, well that's not it. Okay, or just off the ramp to the stars 3 times. In episode 1, I wrote you a letter from a concerned teacher. Okay. Apparently that's not what it wants. No, you just gave me bad info last time, game. Like, does it have to be the first 3 putts? I maybe. Is there a way to just reset it? Or okay. Masha, Wolfgang. Who is our breakup? Into the breakup pit, chat. Engines on, escape velocity, full burn. I see through the bullshit. I cut through it. 3, 2, 1, liftoff. Well then. Okay. This is fine. We're learning. We're learning. Go! Maybe, okay, this is why we broke up. It's because we hammer things as hard as physically possible while missing the hole. No! Okay, fine, I'll play it straight. Escape. To the stars. Out of orbit. They never had enough control over their destiny. Not like us. Our bathroom, my command center. Steering clear of the alien. Of the aliens outside. Struggling inaudibly. Failing their tradition. Bless my dad, he tried. When Mom left me. When Mom left me this world in a box. That is so similar to mine now. We escape.
Warum versuchst du es nicht? Und was wird dann aus uns?
Us watching our parents arguing? An elephant.
After all, it was these decisions that left us
I guess
where
back
we
then
are
it was still seen as
With
tragic for
tunnels
genetic
into
bonds
the
to split
past,
after
the
a while.
future,
At
and
least in
into
that
the
regard,
lives
we
of
have come a long way
When
now.
I design a game, the initial impulse often comes from a strong image or an emotion.
More resonance
or
times.
an
Whoever
issue.
put these, okay?
Now, it is not necessarily obvious, but Mini Mini Golf Golf has, buried deep beneath its layers of code and graphic design and animation, a very strong and distinct feeling, one that lies at the very heart of the game itself, and sure enough, is the reason the game got created in the first place. It's not a super trivial feeling though, at least for me. I have a hard time putting it into a single word or even a number of exact words. I can tell you a story though. Back in the super early 90s, I was still very much a child and three things happened. One, my godfather, who I only ever saw twice in my life, gave me a microscope. Two, a somewhat weird distant relative of mine got me a Game Boy. And three, cable television, and I got to watch Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Saber Rider and the Star Sheriffs, but that's probably another story.
That's most definitely another story.
Being 11 years old is a time full of wonder and excitement.
You're just old enough to understand stuff around you and have proper friends.
And enemies.
And enemies.
Probably another story as well. I am sure many people can relate when I tell you that I had trouble falling asleep. I think it wasn't because of nightmares or anxiety about burglars coming in through my bedroom window. No, I couldn't fall asleep because I was too excited about the world. For a couple of weeks after getting the microscope, I would make observations about the complex and wild cell structures of my own saliva. But I had to do it under the blanket so that my brother, who slept in the same room as me, wouldn't wake up. Now, I don't know if you have ever tried to use a microscope under a blanket, looking at the cells of your own spit, but it's not a particularly sustainable practice.
This is a sustainable practice. I would even call it cozy.
Ooh, a secret.
Hi, I'm back with another feedback mail that reached us. This time it is from a person that did not really appreciate video games that much, I guess. Hi Mini Talk Talk. I work as a teacher, and as you know, in school we don't usually play games but read books instead. Last term I had a kid in my class that was super strange. Well, that seems a bit harsh, doesn't it? When we discussed a story about a snake that ate an elephant, they would not really pay attention. When I drew the famous and very well-known image of the snake and the elephant on the blackboard, they would start giggling. When I inquired about what was so funny, they told me how they would use this as a ramp to launch themselves into space. And after they repeated their story 3 times, launching from the ramp, flying out into space, conquering the stars, I finally had to separate the kid and their seat neighbor, who by that time started to join in with the madness. I wanted to write to you to tell you that I blame video games for this. Sincerely, a concerned teacher. Well, I can see that point there, and it is important to give this perspective a voice. But anyway, thank you for this lecture, and I hope the kids will start to behave.
Anyway, I have very vivid memories of this. At that time in 1992, there wasn't really that big of a distinction between looking at the mesmerizing real world of organic cell biology through the lens of a microscope, or the mesmerizing made-up world of an incarcerated gladiator fighting great evil in a fantasy setting. To me, video games have always held a sense of wonder about the world, about what happens just outside the screen, just outside the things we know or comprehend. As a child, I could extend my world with a microscope. Nowadays, we make video games to allow others to extend their imagination beyond the screen itself.
So you are trying to say that imagining yourself in other places is part of the core emotion that led to the design of Mini Golf Golf? I mean, it's not like you are playing a secret storytelling experiment in an alternate universe or something.
It's just mini golf.
It's just mini golf. Ominous. Ominous.
It's pretty good, it's pretty good.
Ominous. Too much.
No.
Ominous.
We got one last mail from our viewers
Has it repeated?
for today's episode. This fan mail comes from a user called Dad. Hey Mini
Nope.
Talk Talk, how are you today? Well, thanks for asking, Dad. I am very fine today. I have a child at home and I can't seem to be getting through to them. Whatever it is, I say, it feels like they live in another world ever since me and my wife broke up and she left us. It feels like running up that same hill over and over again without any sort of development. How many more times should I try to approach them? Maybe one last try? Maybe it will succeed this one last time? Thank you, Dad, for your sharing what is on your mind. Well, I would definitely give it one last try. You would be surprised to see the crazy things that can happen if you succeed on your last try. I am really amazed by all the sendings we received for our very first episode. Thanks a lot, guys. Looking forward to hearing from you throughout the next episodes. Future Leonie out.
Well, like you said in the beginning, video games are tunnels into the past, into the future, and into the life.
The segment changed. It seems like we are invited into even more buried code. Investigate the segment path, tectonics. Goodbye. Skill. Our apartment flooded. I left my dad. I haven't talked to them since. Oh, I missed that message. I was gaming too hard. Okay. It's been so long since I've remembered. I held on to this game for all this time, adding, changing, recompiling, reconfiguring. Thank you for your resonances. It's strange and comforting to be reminded of childhood. She left to... My mom gave me a modified version of Minigolf for Christmas 2032. 2 years later, she left. Thanks. However complicated that was. Thank you for collaborating on that one, chat. No way! This is from Vanya. My Vanya. The game, the Resonance. I knew things were familiar. Vanya, my partner, my lover. I have to reach out. Did they create the time block? But how? And why? Actually, I'm not sure if they know I'm still alive, about who I am now. Do they know about the accident? Has my hybrid already contacted them? There was so much to do since my transcendence. I don't remember. I should tell them. They must be at Obrist still. I will let them know where I am, what I am now, a hybrid. I'm sure they would like that. Please excuse my excitement. I am just as surprised as you are. Let's investigate what the time block has in store for us first. At least now we know why the resonances are so strong up here on Delphi Station. It's Vanya. Of course we resonate. Okay, we've done childhood. Maybe we should investigate happiness and hope. That was strange. Okay, what? The red grid. There's a... Oh, there is a red grid. Can we just... Is there a... Okay, there's a line that intersects. Oh, it's way below. Okay. Okay. Right. Okay, now I see it. Now I see. It's a coordinate set, right? This is here. This line is flush with this plane. this is flush with this plane. It's a little oblique. Here.
Hello and welcome to Mini Mini Talk Talk, another episode of our 6-part series on video games and the lives of other people.
In this episode, we go on a little quest and venture deep into my memories. Because today, we want to talk about how video games can act as save points for a specific feeling or a specific memory.
Once again, we have sifted through the correspondence that you, our wonderful viewers, have sent to us from near and far. Our first letter comes from a scientist who works at one of the key industrial heavyweights at the dawn of this new decade. Hi Mini Mini Talk Talk. I am an avid fan of your show, and I understand that you are talking about how we deal with situations that are not always super easy for us. I would like to share my experience too. Recently, I worked on a hard problem, an experimental problem. Basically, I was part of an experiment. Very expensive, and it didn't work. Not on our first try, not on our second try, and not on our third try either. Only after 4 unsuccessful attempts did we finally manage to solve the problem. Persistence is super important, I guess, even though it might not seem super easy. Well, it's hard to disagree with this scientific assessment. Thank you for sharing, and let's get back to Mini Mini Talk Talk.
I love everything that's going on
We
here.
want to talk about how video games can act
Maybe I'm
as
just pretentious.
save points for a specific feeling.
Okay. Her, experiment, or intimacy. I guess that was experiment that we were shown. Four unsuccessful attempts.
And welcome to Mini Mini Talk Talk.
Our 6-part series on video games and the lives of other people. Basically, I was part of an experiment. Very
Okay.
expensive. and
Yeah.
it didn't
No, I
only
got it.
after 4 unsuccessful attempts.
They want to be sure we
finally
understand
managed
this
to
one.
Only after 4 unsuccessful attempts did we finally manage to solve. Only after 4 unsuccessful attempts did we finally manage to solve.
All right, gotta sink it in one. And fire. All right, this is the one where we get it, right? I lied.
Uh-oh.
I know how to do this one. Don't worry. Don't worry. Don't worry. Don't worry. Game. It's okay. 1. 2. 3. 4. Okay, we're gonna get it, chat. We're gonna get it. We're gonna get it. 1. Two. We need 4 fails and then a success. 3. 4. And right back to the start. You son of a bitch, game! I wish to perish. Why are you like this? That is frequently the sound produced when you just bounce around the hole. One more. Annoying. Why am I so bad at video games? Two. 3. 4. I wish you could reset after you fail. One. 2. 3. 4. 'Ugh. I could just auto-solve, but then I would be letting the game win.
Uh-oh.
Yay, I fail. Okay, we got this. We got this, chat. We got this. Yay. Okay. 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 Fine, game. Fine. Fine. I admit defeat. What if? Chat, what if? I mean, there are no consequences for anything, right? What can we... Goodbye! Four fail states. I mean, very dramatic. The prospect. Of falling in love. Again. And saving the world. Again. Appeal to. Appeal to me because both were abstract. And daunting. Okay. Okay.
Well done. It's stable. When you're done playing, call me later maybe.
At one of the key industrial heavyweights, at the dawn
That day we found out, at least in theory, our calculations should work and we should be able to significantly impact the Baltic
And I
climate.
understand that you're talking about how we deal with situations that are not always...
This is also the day we really connected,
like to share
mentally,
my
but also
experience.
physically, which was
Recently,
not an
I
easy
worked
thing
on a
for them.
heart problem.
I do not know why I'm telling you this. It's
Basically,
probably
I
not
was
relevant
part
for
of
the
an
continuing
experiment.
existence of
Very
humanity,
expensive,
but
and
it
didn't
is true
work. Not on our
nonetheless.
first try, not on our second try, and not on our third try either.
New code is
Only
being
after
executed
4
in this time block.
unsuccessful
Strange label,
attempts
don't
did
you
we
think?
finally manage
We
to
must
solve the
investigate
problem.
further.
Persistence is super important, I guess, even though it might not seem super easy.
Mini Talk Talk, a talk show series where we talk about video games and the lives of other people.
This week's episode is brought to you by Leonie.
And Leonie.
But it is written by our good friend Vero. This episode will be dedicated to video games as a tool for getting through hard moments.
Interesting, Leonie. Can you tell me more about what you mean by that?
I often think that when I was a kid, life was already kind of complicated. Of course, I had my entire family who had protected me, but I often think the games I played have helped me get through hard moments, because in a way they still do. I often find a sense of security in the inner logic of video games.
Ah. Once again, we would like to take some time to let you, our audience, share your thoughts and ideas on the topics we bring up. Our first audience letter that we want to read to you today is sent to us by, again, an anonymous Obrist scientist. I wonder if that's the same person from last episode. Anyway, anonymous Obrist scientist writes, "Dear Mini Talk Talk, I wrote to you before saying you should be persistent, but I was wrong." Aha, it is the same person. There's a fine line between persistence and stubbornness. We thought we would be getting closer, but we were just going around in circles. After circling 3 times, we basically gave up. And I'm not sure video games will help me make the situation easier. Or maybe it's the last place we can find some solace in darker times. Thanks, Mini Talk Talk. That's quite heavy, and I'm sorry to hear you are feeling down. While I appreciate that some people might find an anchor in video games in times of need, I would like to encourage you to maybe also reach out to people around you for comfort if you are feeling sad. Obviously, we don't know about the gravity of the situation, but we still wish you comfort and healing. Let's get back to Mini Talk Talk.
And Vero gave me this. So I think we are supposed to use it.
But what is it and how does it work?
I don't know. Maybe if I... Oops. This is not exactly where I expected us to go.
It's pretty dark in here. I'm a bit scared.
I am sorry. But don't worry, Leonie. It might be dangerous, but you're not alone. Take this.
Thank you, Leonie. This really made me feel better.
I think this is why Vero brought us here, to illustrate my point, that games can often make you feel safe. I fixed it!
Do you want this back?
No, it's fine.
Yeah, the
But it is not
FMV
just in
is really,
situations like the one
it's
Vero
charming.
just put us in. Games have the capacity to make you feel safe in many situations.
The vibe
Not just literally when you land in dark places by
is
accident,
immaculate.
but also figuratively.
I've never really understood the difference between literally and figuratively.
Yeah, I'm not sure Vero does either.
Now I think I get it. Especially as a kid, sometimes I did not understand the conversations between adults, but I got the feeling that something was not okay. And every time this would happen to me as a child, I would go and play Sims, because there I could create my own adults who would behave in a predictable way.
Yes, And also, if you are a grown up, even now, life can get a little complicated, especially when it comes to like relationships. Like everything sometimes seems like it does not follow any common sense and you do not understand.
Ah, my friend was recently having a tough time. My friend was not doing so well, was super stressed, and her family was moving out of the house where my friend grew up. And my friend was very sad, and my friend told me that the only thing that would calm my friend down was playing a game on a phone.
And the video game the friend played, was it Mini Mini Golf Golf?
No, it was chess.com. If you, our lovely viewers, have comments on the topics we discuss, let us know below the video or on Instagram at 3moreyears_studio. Thank you so much for your interest and love. Bye bye and back to the show.
What is happening here?
Video games can help you because they always follow the same known logic. In this way, they create almost a safe space you can enter and always know what to expect, or rather what's expected of you. Unlike conflicts in relationships, they rarely follow the logic you might be expecting.
And also, video games give you the possibility to win.
Is this something important to you?
Not the winning, but when you arrive home after a terrible day, winning in a familiar video game and feeling like you are still good at something, that's a nice thing, isn't it?
Thank you for watching this episode of Mini Mini Talk Talk,
a talk show where we speak about video games and the lives of other people.
Okay. What do you think? Her or intimacy? Let's go with her. My happy place. Chad, is this real?
Another episode of our talk show series on video games and the lives of other people. Posed by our friend, the bus driver. Hi, bus driver. We hit their routers with the ball. I need you to hit it 3 times in a row. We hit their routers with the ball. I need you to hit it 3 times in a row. We hit their routers with the ball.
I think I got it. Okay. One. Two. Oh! I... Oh, come on! Do you believe in coincidence, F? Who would have thought the subway would run on time that day? Ooh, can we just... Nope. They all make up stories. That's sooner or later. We mistake for our lives. This is a very interesting experiment. For absolute commanding. Of course I had to. Of course she had to. This video game. That is so much to us.
Hey. I'm sorry, is this seat occupied? I'm sorry. Hey, I know that game. My dad took me one time to go see a real windmill. You know, before the flooding and all that. This one is prettier though.
She's getting kind of close, chat. Is she flirting with us?
Well, it's hard to disagree with this scientific research.
This is me, former me anyway. That was my first workday. What an absolutely bizarre thing to see yourself synthesized from the point of view of, well, of what or whom exactly?
Today, we want to talk about
Would this not be Vanya?
act as safe points.
This is me reflected in Vanya's memories. How strangely shaped they are. I'm not sure how that makes me feel. But we are not here for my feelings now, are we?
Exactly.
New code is being
They
executed
really
in this
like
time
the
block.
original Sims.
Hmm.
I think they really just like the memory of them playing Sims, not necessarily the original game itself.
You think that's why it's never as much
Okay.
fun when I play?
Well, we've been invited to Tectonics, but why don't we also complete Intimacy? Oh. Ooh, actually,
And welcome to Mini Mini Talk.
we should take our second break of the day. I will percolate thoughts while we're on break. And then use my body to articulate them. All right? Okay, we'll be right back. See you shortly. Welcome back, chat. How's it going out there? Okay, so the golf component of this game seems to be something that Vanya played quite a lot from very early childhood through to adulthood. Do you think that's an accurate evaluation of this, and thus has many associations with that game? and is using that game to communicate with the hybrid on Delphi Station. You know, Delphi, the Oracle. You know, if you can play this game, then you would inherently be able to relate with this person. Right? In the way that, I don't know, someone who played World of Warcraft in 2006 and I would be able to speak to each other using some kind of shared language. You know, it's like when you share something personal with someone you care for. Anyway, maybe we can play more game and see how that thought plays out.
Talk to our 6-part series on video games and the lives of other people. Maybe in a subway once, at work for the second time, then over dinner find the right approach, and that can take 1 or 2 or 3 times. Find the right approach, and that can take 1 or 2 or 3 times. Find the right approach, and that can
1 or 2 or 3 times. Gotcha. Okay, theory is present. That was 4. We can do it in 3. No, we can't. Oh, maybe. Okay. No! Okay, what if? Gotta tease it a little bit, you know? Okay, we've gotten it in 2. Now we need to get it in 1. Or maybe this will be the one where we get it in 3. Or not. Actually, now that we've thoroughly borked this one, can we launch it? Why am I so bad at video games, chat? Okay, there's our 2. This will be our 3. This will be our 3.
I feel like this could work. It's a step forward.
True, I could be good at video games, and those people all look hideous. I do remember. Remember when Hideous Roachman got banned and had to spend like 36 hours without playing video games and got kind of introspective and then immediately went back to being an enormous chud? I cannot let go. We're being torn. Between hope and home. Between them and us. She chose pain? Them. As in you people. So I promise. I cannot let go but to hold on to us in memory. Chat, I had people complaining that the game wasn't loud enough. I need you to decide. So I promised her to look out for you.
I feel like this could work. It's a step forward.
Not feel existential dread?
No. Remember my dad when I used to say about that taking a step forward to the windmill is worth celebrating. When I met you. But honestly, back then I was holding on. I'm not sure if it isn't what I had left. Too little, too late. Trying to get as much out of my job and the comfort. The simulation might be running stable, but our data is so coarse. Now I feel... What if it fails? Like we have an actual shot at this. I feel like... we could at least stabilize things. Keep making the same mistakes over and over again. I mean, there could be a future for you and me, for us, you know? Shouldn't we be working every together? Have a house somewhere? Shouldn't we be could look at the ocean all we can and not feel existential dread? Stay off catastrophe, but enjoy the waves for as long as we can, and the tides. Like in the before.
I kind of love when the dialogue doesn't match up with the subtitles.
Of them playing Sims, not necessarily the original game itself.
You think that's why it's never...
It is strange to see myself like that now, the body in a singular place. At least they synthesized it well. My mind was always torn. I think that does not make me particularly unique. Not as unique as I am now, anyways.
I always give up just after the quick.
Are there accents Danish?
Feels different now. Different to what I thought it would feel when I got the idea to replay it like a couple of weeks
I also remember that day very differently. Like I said different things, or I thought different thoughts, or more thoughts, but my decision was made and apparently it impacted them enough to put it in a time block.
No, not this time.
New code is being executed. Okay.
Right here.
Aha, this is your parents' living room.
Excellent observation, Friedrich. As you can see, it is obviously 2009.
Obviously. Do you want to elaborate on the specificity of this particular scene and how it relates to video games as save points for memories and feelings?
I would love to. Let me unveil the mystery by asking a simple question. How are you feeling?
Let me see. It's just before Christmas. There are presents here under the tree. I'm obviously representing a part of your identity. And so I guess I'm feeling super excited.
Exactly. On Christmas Day 2009, I got gifted my very first gaming console, a Nintendo DSi, including a copy of Pokémon Soul Silver.
Pokemon Soul Silver. I like where this is going.
In the nights leading up to Christmas, I could not sleep at all. I would prepare my trip through the Johto region mentally. I was just so super extra excited by the thought that soon I would be able to catch them all.
Oh, you knew about your Christmas present in advance. Your family knows what's under the Christmas tree before Christmas.
But that's a different story. Let's go to the next memory. Like it was yesterday.
Why are we so incredibly sad?
In 2015, after a particularly heartbreaking breakup with my then girlfriend, I had to play Outlast for several weeks.
Wait, why Outlast?
Just to feel anything else but the pain of being left alone.
Couldn't you just rewatch like Sopranos, the complete DVD set, or something like that, like regular people? And why would you drag me into this memory?
Well, don't criticize me again. I'm trying to make a point here.
Our second letter comes to us courtesy of a person named Zoe. Zoe writes, "Hi, funky people. I write in response to Tom's letter from your second episode. I understand that relationships can be hard and tedious. Insecurity can creep in through the cracks around every corner. I know this is somewhat of a hot take, but I just want to mention that sometimes things work out like 1, 2, 3. Like 3 times you need to try and then it works. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, for me it was like that. I want to tell you that sometimes you need to find the right approach, and that can take 1 or 2 or 3 times, maybe in a subway once, that work for the second time, then over dinner for the third time, and then after you got to know...
All right. On to the tectonics. Sure. I mean, video games provide a framework and a shared language, a comforting space. then eventually, it's the only thing you can use to interpret the world. Engineers subscribe to a very particular kind of idealism, that problems have solutions. Thankfully, Zoe wasn't an engineer. If not for Zoe, we wouldn't have persisted. If not for Zoe, I wouldn't persist. It's so strange to think that I wouldn't have done this for humanity, but gladly do this for the memory of a single human.
Maybe it's better if it's not easy. You know?
Oh wow, I had no idea I had such an impact on their life.
Thank you, Zoe, for this.
Oh, how much I am looking forward to let them know that I am, in fact, quite alright. I think part of Vanya might actually enjoy my hybrid form more. You know, it's funny. I always thought it would be Vanya who would go down this path.
Anyways, what I'm trying to say is that
Let's continue with our investigation. Best to compartmentalize this and return to it later. My strategy through all of adulthood.
Yes, I understand. Whenever I reinstall Silent Hunter 5, I hope
Not all code segments seem to be okay. Work-life balance.
Or when I replay Rainbow Six, I'm in my aunt's attic playing the game with her friends.
yes, regardless of what feelings those
Okay,
games want to
jacket
convey
fragment,
to you in the first
habitat
place,
program
we
fragment.
connect them to our very
This is the jacket fragment. It's called Anorak, heavy duty jacket. Okay.
As the commission dissolves, I want to broadcast some final words to all of you. As you are surely aware, we are, as of this day, beginning construction of your microsocial infrastructures in our habitat factories. And as I have promised, come this day, we will relinquish all authority as European Commission and divert all governing power to your administrative councils. I would like to take this moment to thank you for your commitment, your willingness to adapt, your resilience, and your sacrifice. For without all of your sacrifices, the incredible change we have achieved in the past decades would have been unfathomable. We have dissolved borders, outgrown them. We ourselves have begun moving again with our bodies and in our minds, shedding the chains that have polluted our views of the planet and to whom it belongs. In our politics, our economies, and our relationships, we have transcended the deep rift that the first decades of this century drew upon us. In our efforts to deny the inevitable, we trusted where before we were in doubt. In our desperate struggle to pick up these pieces of our civilization, we showed solidarity where before we were split apart. We did not let the great minds of our generation wither and die. Instead, we followed their ideas and ideals. Only we were, as they say, a generation too late. And our sacrifices, however enormous, did not reconstitute that which we lost. But they brought a new balance, a new, grim, but stable continuity. Even though this is a message of dissolution, I trust that it finds you in unity, in a new together that transcends borders and commodities, and finally carves a new sense of value, true value, from the crusted remains of a once divided humanity that paid dearly for their follies. And yet, through the sacrifice, yours and those of many and yet few individuals, a new environmental balance has been achieved. This, my fellow citizens, must be the beginning of a new culture. Make no mistake, heroic efforts might have found this new balance, but in this balance, the scales are not tipped in our favor. The habitat infrastructures will provide shelter, keep you warm, and keep you agile to survive our hostile ecology. But it is your ideals and ideas, your new culture in your new world, that will give meaning to the struggle. For what has been done will not be undone. And the tides and the storms and the erosion and the cracks in the skin of our planets will not ever be pacified again. And we will forever have to fight that which we need to survive. I implore you, I call on this new culture not to be bitter in that fight, and yet not to be hopeful. As a member of the generation that has forfeited your right to a peaceful existence, how can I? Yet still I do. I implore you to reorient from our passing generation's ideas and ideals to something new, to something you have to build with your imagination as much as with your bodily toil. I want to extend my deepest thanks to each and every one of you who has participated in the Habitat program, who sent us their ideas and ideologies, their worlds and societies that are being put into material reality in the 12 remaining Habitat factories over the coming years. Your assignments and those of your kin are finding their way to your governing councils at this time. My fellow citizens, the sky is not dark because it is angry. The earth is not sore because it is in pain. Nature is not like us. It is in itself. It knows no human reason. Rather, our reason is torn from its uncompromising facts. The fulcrum of the balance has been forever shifted by my dishonest generation, and it is upon you to bear the pressure that weighs down on us all. My fellow citizens, I hereby resolve the European Commission and all of its governing authority. Take care of each other.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. Turning points.
Hello, welcome to another episode of Mini Mini Talk Talk.
A talk show series where we talk about video games and the lives of other people.
Today, we want to talk about collaging and playing dress up.
And how those activities connect and subvert the way we play video games.
I collage a lot, and I realized that collaging, as well as dressing up as different people, which is the other activity I really like doing, are tools that I use for my self-expression.
And this sounds very much like what I do when playing around with character editors in video games. I also dress up as the characters I created, you know? To act out my own version of my favorite character.
And what does that look like?
Let me show you. I don't think you need super fancy clothes to perfectly recreate your favorite characters.
Well, that's good, because I don't have that many fancy clothes anyway.
I love
to spend many minutes, sometimes hours, in character editors to create different
I love the character in the mirror.
It's really just a matter of allowing yourself to imagine being a powerful character. And if you want to transform and wear this identity, putting on a tiny head can be the key you need to unlock this version of yourself.
Or a colorful cap.
Or shorts.
You turned me into a disco cyberpunk person.
Very powerful indeed.
Our editing team picked a more poetic submission from another network news journalist. We almost made it. It's hard. Let's face it. You cannot win. We didn't accept that, so we almost won. We almost won 3 times. In the ocean, in the dust, and in the void. What remains is, we didn't win. Oh, more poetic indeed. They continue. Video games are different to the real world. One of the things that I really like about them is that when the shit hits the fan, in some situations you can't do anything to change the real world anymore. But in video games, you can always fix your prior mistakes. I like that. Thanks, Mini Talk Talk. Another somewhat muted letter from our audience. We do appreciate them as much as any other voice that engages with our discussion. I do hope that things turn out brighter for you in the days ahead. Thank you for sharing, and now back to the show.
Okay.
Now we took something from the video games world and wear it in the real world. Can I also put something of myself into the video games world?
Of course. You just roleplay. There's plenty of games in which you can do that. You can put yourself into many open world games, for example.
I think I did that.
How?
When I was younger, I was playing GTA Vice City. But because I was still young, there was a mission I could not pass. No matter how hard I tried, I would always fail. Which is where I, at some point, gave up on the actual game and started to play my own game inside of Vice City.
In what way?
I would take care of Tommy, the main character, and I would drive cars with Tommy and go to empty houses and pretend he lives there or he works there, and I would even pretend to talk to characters on the streets. I think in this way I appropriated the game with my pure imagination, putting myself and my own world into it.
I think this demonstrates very well how a game can extend your identity. It could start out of boredom, but it can become, and often is, something more profound. We appropriate the things we spend time with and make them our own.
And I think GTA is an exceptionally good example of this, because it is a world that is created with a specific story and missions, but for me, I played it as a different game. I brought a part of my world that I like, caring for other people and making sure they have shelter and are safe, into a game that was all about danger and violence. I appropriated it in a way that worked for me.
Yes, adding ideas of care and comfort into game worlds that are sorely lacking those concepts is as much a form of self-expression as dressing up like a video game character. It can be powerful to adjust a game world to your liking in a caring way. Look, I made something for you.
Wow! Thank you, Leonie.
I think I like collaging because it offers me a possibility to create something that is my own while building on something that had already existed.
I think that dressing up really allows us to feel extraordinary and badass, even though these properties are not necessarily something we want to wear every day. But it is nice to be able to wear them once in a while.
Totally. The world does not have a permanent place for me as a video game character. Far from it, actually. But every once in a while, it's nice that I have access to that part of my identity, to give space to a version of myself that is extraordinary and, as you say, badass. Thank you for watching Mini Mini Talk Talk,
a talk show series about video games and the lives of other people.
Okay. So, yeah, I think the game's thesis is fairly straightforward. They are kind of just saying it out loud. Decision or disaster, chat? I mean, let's not kid ourselves. Not gonna let me play? But I'm right here.
Mini Mini Talk Talk, a talk show series where we talk about video games and the lives of other people. An anonymous obrist scientist. I wonder if that's the same. Going around in circles. After circling 3 times. Going around in circles. After circling 3 times. Going around in circles.
Around 3 times, huh? I feel cheated, chat. Oh, okay. We'll take it. No! Why am I so bad at this?
After circling 3 times.
Yes, no, I get it. I get it. No, I'm not struggling. I'm trying to play the video game. Okay. We went around in a circle 3 times. And yeah, in the videos, they're talking a lot about how when they play games, they're not necessarily playing the game. They're playing it at cross purposes to the game, or using a feature in the game to do something that they like. Right? Playing with the character editor. Role-playing in a GTA game. Here we are not really doing golf. Panic does not translate over F. Bridging space-time with flickering waves. I feel that was a gimme. With fiber optic cable woven be as I watch and watch and watch and watch. And listen, you know, there's a fairly famous comment by Sir Ian McKellen to Patrick Stewart when he was playing Macbeth, where he was like, the most important word in the speech isn't tomorrow, it's and. Watch and watch and watch. Listen to her voice. For the last time. Why is the game using mini golf as progression? Because of this. Because Vanya played the game a lot. Played a mini golf game a lot. So has associations of mini golf with all kinds of places in their life.
The converging plates down here, they're generating erratic seismic ripple effects. There's some sort of resonance. You have to look in. Do you hear me? You have to look into this. This will not solve ours, but abandoning it will make things much worse now. Much, much worse. It is an impossible situation. There might be a way to evacuate the station of low power. But someone has to stay and make this work. Take care. The evacuation.
Very powerful indeed.
This is me dying. The strangest thing to see yourself, or part of yourself. Just before you are crushed, I think I was crushed. That's what they say in the reports.
A more poetic submission from another network news journalist. We almost made it. It's hard. Let's face it. You cannot win. We didn't accept that. So we almost won. We almost won 3 times. In the ocean, in the dust, and in the void.
Oof. I should probably call the stream here, chat.
We didn't win.
So, yeah, this is really interesting so far. I mean, it's got a story, it's got a thesis. It is using the medium of a fairly simple game of golf in order to tell a story about trying to communicate with somebody using a video game. Right? This was important to this person, and they're using it to try to first attract Zoe's attention and then communicate. And all of the video clips are clips of people talking about using games for purposes that are unrelated to their actual, like, gameplay, right? Although there are things like the Pokemon game where the anticipation of getting something new is you've already kind of like experienced before getting it. You saw how you were going to experience it before you got it, right? There was like the fantasy of the video game before the video game. Yeah. I don't know. I think this is kind of interesting. I would love to see where this goes. Unfortunately, I've run out of time for today. So I think I will need to call the stream here. But so far, I really like this. I would like to play this on my own. Yeah. So, yeah, what an interesting concept. The things that we do that bring us comfort, that bring us joy or frustration, connect us with people perhaps outside of our experience and outside of our time frame. It's weird. I like it. I like when things are weird. I like when games do weird things. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me on this week's Talking Sim. I will see you all in the future. Any other thoughts? I have no thoughts. I don't experience thought anymore. I found it unwise. Bye.